going to show you 5 different camera live stream scenes. I'm going to show you 5 different live stream setups using camera overlays in Ecamm Live. Of course, you can take these concepts through any software that you might be using. But I hope that today your mind will be opened. Whether you're looking to do streaming with at your church with lyrics, if you're presenting to a speech on Zoom, or if you've got a webinar, or you want to do video and reaction reviews, things like that. I'm going to give you 5 different layouts, scene setups to help open up your brain and look at maybe some different things that you might not have thought of to do just yet. If you're new around here, please do type new in the comments. I would love to meet you. And if you are new, then you don't know me. Hi, I'm Laria Petrucci from Live Streaming Pros, where I help you create professional video that is uniquely you. And this is the show I do in partnership with Ecamm Live every Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific to help you get more out of Ecamm. The first setup that I want you to see is a pretty common one, which is the interview setup, right? So the interview setup is something that a lot of people use. And if you haven't seen, like with native Ecamm functionality, you can actually just do a side-by-side with no graphics. But if you want something that adds a little pizzazz and a little professionalism to your stream, you can do something like this, so that you can actually put comments right up in the blank space, so you have thought that through. Hello, Carl. Thank you for being here. And you can actually engage your audience better, right? And then, of course, you can use solo frames like this. You can do so much with the interview setup. You can kind of go back and forth. Now, in order to build this out, it's very simple. So I'll go into demo mode and actually show you how to build this out. So I always start with a blank scene. That way I actually can, I can do what I need to do without using additional resources, especially if you're going to use, camera overlays as a function, then that'll actually be to your benefit. So if I'm going to build out the interview setup, I'll show you, since I already showed you the 2 camera setup, I'll show you a 4 camera setup. How about that? So I've just dragged in the overlay that I have purchased from the Live Streaming Pro store or one you create your own. And then, as you noticed, I don't have the native camera functionality. So what I'm going to do is actually see right down here in the overlays section, I want you to see this right here. This button is your favorite friend. It's the new camera overlay. Gosh darn it, why does it go to that first? Okay, so now we're going to change the camera. We're going to go to custom, and then we're going to adjust it inside of this little box, okay? And then we do this. Now you notice it looks kind of bad, right? So what we're gonna do next is actually go drop this behind in the layering underneath that, and then I can kind of adjust it further and bring it into the view that I want. And then if I wanna add my interviewees, then what I'm gonna do is create another camera overlay. Stop. It's in the order that it was received. So I'm going to choose my guest, and I'm going to make that custom as well, and bring Callie Puppet over here. And then, of course, we're going to drop it behind. So layering is very important when it comes to using camera overlays. So you want to pay attention to that. And then you just add your other 2 guests, and voila, you have a fantastic interview setup. Now, very important to note, in the interview system, you actually have the ability to assign different placeholders. If you're going to set up your show in advance with graphics, this is the way to do it. You can actually go ad hoc where you're just adding them in as you need. But if you get everybody in ahead of time, go ahead and make sure that you assign them as placeholders. What that will do is actually make it possible. So let's say their internet drops, or they have a problem and they jump out and jump back in. They're already going to be assigned to that placeholder. So when they come back, you don't have to do any fiddling or adjustments to get them back in. So that's really important to note. All right, so that is demo mode. That is the interview option, and you're going to be able to do so much with that. So who's using interview, that interview setup? Let me know in the comments. Again, I'm showing you 5 different ways to set up using camera overlays so that you can think about maybe new options. So let's get to something else, the presenter setup. So again, if you are presenting of any kind, maybe you're doing a speech, maybe you're doing a meeting at work through Zoom, maybe you're doing a webinar, any kind of presentation where you have a keynote or something that you want to actually share from your computer, and you need to actually bring that in, you can actually do it with just the pip setup inside of Ecamm. Absolutely. So this is sharing my second screen on this same computer, just using the native pip functionality. That is possible. But if you actually use the camera overlay function, you can bring in a second computer into your production and get better results, more control, I should say, right? It reduces the load on your CPU of your streaming computer, but also it allows you to adjust the presentation in whatever way that you want to on your stream. So you could do a whole lot of different things with it. So let's go into demo mode. Do you guys like the demo mode? And show you how to actually build that out. So I'm going to start with a new scene. Again, starting with a blank scene. And I'm going to add a pip. Okay, just making sure I grab the right one here. So we'll add this pip, set it into the frame, and then we will, demo mode means you get 2 of me. And then we're gonna add this, and this is going to be my camera. We're going to make it custom to fit inside of this pip. But again, remember, if you actually wanted to do something where you're not using pips, I hate magic mice, seriously. I actually don't like using magic mice. Okay, so I'll drag that layer here shortly, but let's get my computer in where I'm actually sharing the presentation. I'm showing a website where I actually want to talk about that, present it. This is my computer. So, in the pip mode, sometimes you can't get rid of that URL bar, but in this mode you can, because you can drag it out of frame and really just focus on what you want to present. Did I make this custom? I did not. There we go. And then we just get this, there we go. We want to make sure that the bar is out of the way. Nobody's seeing anything that they shouldn't. Then we continue to adjust. Voila, let's drag the pip above. Boom. There you go. So now you have more control over that functionality. And in fact, if you wanted to do something like, maybe you wanted to do something like this is your presentation, And maybe you just add a background color in the back, right? So you could do something like this, and then you could add another camera overlay and choose your camera. Maybe make that round. Like you could do, you could do something like this, right? Make that bigger, kind of get that off to the side, bring you over here. Maybe you put a background color like a blue or an orange in the back. You could do something like that. But you see how this gives you full functionality over the presentation that you're bringing into the mix. So that's number 2, presentation mode. Now let's talk about number 3, which is the video reaction. Who watches video reactions on YouTube? I'm curious. Do you like them? They can be quite funny. Okay, great question. I should have mentioned that. How do I have a second computer connected? What's required for that is okay. So I have this adapter, a USB-C adapter to HDMI, and then that's plugged into a capture card plugged into my main streaming computer. You could bring it in via NDI instead if you don't have another capture card. So there are different ways to do so, but you definitely want to you don't have to bring it in, like I said, but that is definitely a helpful way to bring that in. So capture card, NDI is another option. I prefer the cables, the hardwired connection myself. Okay, what's a reaction video? So number 3, reaction videos or review videos. Maybe you're reviewing other people's streams, or sorry, not streams, but videos or content of any kind. Reaction videos are where people react to another video or something happening, and you see their face and they're like, oh, like, what are they thinking? Right? That kind of thing. So if you're going to do that, then again, you could either do it through the PIP that I just showed you, or you could do it through the same computer. Now, let's show you how to actually set up these options. Okay, so we're gonna start a new one, blank scene, okay? Now, if you're gonna do it on the same computer and you want to actually watch a completely different video, then you're going to move into the share screen option here. And you see that we're in PIP mode because this is going to be the main camera. Okay, hold on. I need to go into camera mode here, fix that. Now we can come into PIP, and then we're showing Google Chrome. So imagine that this is, hold on. Nope. I actually want to share the secondary display. So we would go full screen here, right? Let's go full screen with this. So maybe this is like the full video. You can, I have to find my mouse. I'm having to use the magic mouse today because I have a different mouse set up today. But this is one thing that you may not have known about inside of Ecamm. See this little arrow switch? Let's say you want the video, the shared screen, to be the smaller thing and you bigger. You can just flip that and voila. A lot of people don't know about that functionality, and that's super, super helpful. So you could be sitting here going like, what? I can't believe they did that. What? Right? You can react to that video and people can still see it. You can make it whatever size you want. Of course, just like those overlays I showed you, you can actually do that, again, setting up completely from scratch there with using the same functionality I already showed you for that PIP style. But again, you can play around with these things. You can totally do this not with the native screen share, right? So if we start again, we're going to actually bring in a different pip. So next we're going to take the overlays and we're going to add the camera overlay. We're going to choose, the camera coming in, let's say, let's say, okay, I want to react to Callie from yesterday. So I'm going to, maybe I can, choose a pip of whatever kind. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. All the wrong buttons. Okay. So I could make this pip kind of like this, and I can play around with it, make it look good. But I want to react to this Callie blowing bubbles here from yesterday. And then I want to put me on the big one, right? You could do it either or, you big, them big, or the video that you're reacting to big. And then of course we're going to make this on top. And then I can hit play from my other computer. Oh wait, I want to look over here. Think about that. You want to make sure that you're thinking about, we didn't get much Callie there. Think about like where you're looking and how you have it placed, right? So if I want to be in the big one, then I would need to make sure that, that I place my computer over here to watch it, or I need to flip it, right? So obviously you wouldn't want a video like this in this box, but if you had something, maybe you have a box that's bigger, you could do like a side-by-side like this one. Let me show you this one actually. Something like this would be a great reaction video layout there. So you could do that. I mean, there's just so much function, so many options when you start to kind of play around with these overlays. Okay. Next up is the gamer setup. So if you're gaming and you have a completely different gaming setup, like you're gaming on your PC, you're bringing that into the streaming software here, or PlayStation or whatever. On that computer, you're actually going to have a capture card, bringing that into your Ecamm setup, just like I do today. And now keep in mind, I am not a gamer, but what we can do, I'm actually cheating today since I don't play games. But I am using, thank you so much to iGlorious, Ethan, for allowing me to use his Minecraft video on today's demo. So imagine, this is iGlorious, that's the channel, and imagine that I'm actually playing this game. And then I actually want to bring me in as a pip. All I have to do is click the camera overlays function, choose my camera, and maybe I want to go round on this one, right? And I can put me in a corner and you can watch me react as I'm playing the game. Now, if you have a green screen behind you, you can float yourself, right? So you could key out using the green screen functionality of Ecamm, and you wouldn't see my background. Instead, I would just be floating on top. And if you do that, I would highly recommend you do something like, maybe you do the square instead, where you're and you look at, like, you don't want, like, I'm cut off, right? Now, people are used to that, but think about those little details. Put you down all the way down at the bottom, and that will look better floated because it'll feel more natural. Like otherwise people are like, they notice things, right? Not that big of a deal, but it is, if you're trying to create professional videos, then you will want to think about details. That's very, very, very important. So number 5, this is a fun one. Okay, so a lot of churches actually use, they use like lyrics on screen, right? So if you are wanting to, in a church environment, or maybe you're a musician or any other kind of setup that this might be relevant for, then you could actually set up for lyrics coming in green screened. I'm going to show you that. And then they can pop up on the bottom. So, or on the side, wherever you want. So what I'm going to do here, we are going to use this single pip right here, because the lyrics will come in at the bottom down here. So now I want to add my camera. So I'm going to add camera overlay, choose the right camera here. So this is an inside joke because I was doing a video and all of a sudden I just started singing like this line of mine. And so my team is making fun of me. Okay, so I'm going to drop that behind the pip. Okay, so now we have the camera overlay with space for lyrics coming in. Okay, so what we want to do now, this is where it gets a little fun, is add another camera. And now you see the green screen. So I'm going to actually put this full screen across the entire thing, cover me up. And then I'm going to drop down in here to the camera effects and click green screen. And then transparent. And boom. So this is actually coming in through a keynote presentation that's set up with the lyrics. But there are a lot of churches and houses of worship actually use a program for that. And my apologies. I don't actually know what those are, but you know, if this is the setup that you want, you know what those programs are. So I'm just flipping through. We can sing. I'm not actually going to sing for you today because I don't do that. Pro Presenter. Thank you, Daniel. It's Pro Presenter is what the houses of worship use a lot. So you can sing, you blah, 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 blah. And you can do your thing and you can have your lyrics. So that is something that you can do very, very easily. Again, I am bringing this in through a completely different computer using that HDMI and capture card source so that I have that full functionality of the camera overlays function inside of Ecamm. There we go. And confirmed. Pro Presenter. I dance, not sing. Exactly. So the day I did sing a little bit, but I don't sing. That's not my strength. That is really not my strength. Now you know exactly how to set up for different scenarios. And here's the thing. These are just the beginning possibilities. So let your mind go wild. Use these ideas and different setups and different options to really choose what's right for you. Get creative is my point. And if you want to go from software to actually having a better looking studio, definitely check out this playlist right here so that you can dive deeper into all of the gear to help you set up professional studio setups in your own home or office.